Hey everyone, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that notification bell, share. You could also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Now today, on the Angel of Words podcast, all the way from ATL, we got Miss Leslie Ramirez, founder of the House of Ramirez, on deck on the Angel of Words podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Angel of Words podcast. I am your host, Angel of Words, and today, joining us all the way from ATL Shode, we have the entrepreneur, the activist, the founder of the House of Ramirez, Miss Leslie Ramirez. Hello, Miss Ramirez. Thank you for joining us today here on the Angel of Words podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you, Angel. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. You know, doing my research on you, I see you've been doing big things, girl. Been doing things for the Black and brown community, trying to create unity, you know, with the white community, doing big things through the House of Ramirez. And I just want to put people on, you know, could you let us know what's good with the House of Ramirez? You know, what do you guys do? And, you know, how do you promote Black and brown businesses?
Yeah, so that's what we tailored to. We see a need, and we saw a need initially when we started in 2018. We saw the need to promote and support our own small-owned businesses within our own communities, and we tailored to that. You know, we help with promoting, supporting, you know, putting our money where our mouth is. We're out there in the community also serving the children and the women of our communities. But yeah, we focus and tailor to assisting small-owned businesses that are Hispanic and Black-owned.
Now, these businesses, are there a particular type of business, or are they like, you know, it's a diverse group of businesses?
So it's a diverse. There's no specific market that we hit. It's everyone's welcome. Whether you have a carniceria or whether you have a barber shop or a nail salon, or a product or a service that you offer and sell, it just depends. If you are Hispanic or you are Black and you have your own product or service, you're welcome. You know, you're welcome to come to House Ramirez, and we tailor to supporting you and promoting you.
Oh, okay. What kind of promotions do you do? Is it like an email marketing campaign? You know, is it like, you know, events?
So we do have on my website, you can go ahead and check us out. I have a full marketing team, 20 and 3 on Instagram. You can go to their webpage as well. They build websites and apps from scratch to fit and tailor your company. So whatever service that may be might look different from someone that might have a product. So they build all of that from scratch, and they tailor to that. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't mind, you know, there's a lot of people that may not speak English, and you know, you still offer these services to them. Could you just summarize for us a little bit what you just said for the Latino community who may not understand English?
Of course. So, entonces, mi compañía Casa de Ramirez, House of Ramirez, específicamente se enfoca en ayudar a negocios pequeños que son hispanos, latinos y también morenos. So, si usted tiene un servicio, un producto hispano o moreno, vengan a House of Ramirez, a Casa de Ramirez, y nosotros le ayudamos con promoción, con marketing, con construyendo una website para usted, específicamente para usted, de principio a final. También apps. Hay muchas apps que nosotros hacemos y usamos para nuestros clientes. Algunas veces es más mejor usted tener un app que un website, algo mobile, como un mechanic o como un cleaning service. Usted más que nadie necesitaría una app en vez de un website, y mi compañía específicamente se enfoca en ayudarle con la promoción y con la construcción apoyando a la comunidad latina y morena.
Y si uno no entiende mucho la tecnología, ¿ustedes le enseñan a ellos cómo usar la tecnología?
Bueno, es algo que yo he pensado. Entonces, ahorita mismo no estamos haciendo eso, pero usted sabe, yo siempre estoy, ¿cómo se dice?, disponible a ayudarle a la gente. Si no entiende algo, no duele mucho solo ayudarle a alguien, eso no tiene un precio. Ayudarle a alguien no es siempre de dinero, es ayudar a otro, uno a otro, apoyándonos unos a otros.
Wow, that's perfect. That sounds like a great service to attain, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to call on you, you know what I'm saying? Sounds like a good plan, I hope those rates are popping.
Oh!
Do I get a podcast discount? You dig? Nah.
Right?
Hey, me always looking for a deal.
Angel, it's all about supporting and helping each other.
Yeah.
Of course, everything has a price when you're doing business, but there are times where you look out for one another, and that's really what we focus on. We're out here, and we help one another, we support one another, and that's what it's all about.
Now, you also mentioned, though, which is interesting because, you're a person that believes in equality. And you said that, growing up, you noticed that there was something within the white community that you observed, that they always found a way to make things happen for their vision. And now, could you tell us what it is that you really saw in those communities that make them become successful?
Yeah, most definitely. So I definitely saw the unity. I saw how the white community kept their money within their circle. So they would shop at their own shops and go to their own different shops and just leave their money in their own community. And it would recycle and come back to them one way or another. So as a young child, I would see how strong and united they were, not only in numbers, but also in money form. So monetarily, they were supporting one another, and I saw that. So when I got the opportunity to actually start my own entrepreneur journey, I said, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to support and promote others because we need to be able to find ways to keep our money within our own community. And that's what it's all about. You have to be able to keep the money cycling within our own so we can prosper, so we can grow, so we can do more for our own community. So it's not just businesses. It's what are you doing outside of the business hours? Are you giving back to the community? Are you pouring into the community? Are you mentoring? Are you assisting? And again, it's not always about money. So although the money is circulating, what are you doing that doesn't need money, that you are out there physically giving back to people, So.
That seems to be a big issue within the hip hop community because, you don't really see a lot of them promoting, brands made by black and brown people. And that's no knock. I mean, you're allowed to purchase whatever it is that you want, but
right.
But when you're in that kind of field and you're in entertainment and people are viewing what you're doing all the time, you might help flock and drive those resources towards different avenues. How do you feel about when people say that?
Well, I mind my own business, and I tend to keep game, so to say. So I keep game, I pay attention, but I mind my own business. I stay in my own lane, and I'm pretty good at that.
Now, Leslie, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start a small business, from a brand ambassador side, as a person that might market them? What would your advice be?
Well, I would say don't stop dreaming. The first thing that you want to do is figure out what you're good at. What you're good at might not be what someone else is good at. So when God puts a calling on you, go for it. And as long as you know what that is, and it might take a few steps for you to get there. So as long as you know what that is, when you get there, you go for it. You have to start with the basics, getting your LLC, then getting an EIN, doing all the proper steps to become legitimate in this business world. People will check you on that. And when you have that dream and that's what God wants you to do, don't stop for nothing.
And call LegalZoom,
Well, we have actually, I'm partnered up with a Black-owned attorney firm. It's a firm. She's wonderful, Roberta. She's here in Georgia. and she actually helps me with, businesses that come my way that might need legal help in the business realm. She tailors to that. So I can say that, we offer legal help. We have an attorney on our end. So,
Well, there you go, guys. You better go holler at House of Ramirez, especially if you're ATL. That's a fact. Now
Hey.
you do more than you're a woman of many trades, and one of the things that you're really passionate about, it seems, is your activism. You really want to work in criminal justice reform, which is a big topic of conversation in America right now. Could you let us know why you are so passionate about, changing the legal system up?
Yeah, so it takes baby steps. You can't just completely tear down overnight what's been structured for so long. It's been working for many for so long to oppress our community. But yes, I am very passionate about that. I actually have two siblings, and one of my brothers, he's serving a life sentence for something he didn't do. He just fit the criteria, and he was at the right place at the wrong time. And that's what it is. You just need to fit a certain type of criteria. And if you're from the brown or black community, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So when, as a loved one, seeing your family member go through that and you yourself going through the motions of accepting that that's going on and, supporting them the best way you can, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on the family. It takes a toll on life, period, as you know it. And, I think it's very important that we shed light on that. Yes, now it's a hot topic, but you never know if it's going to fade out. And I don't think that it should fade out. I think that now more than ever, everyone needs to be on board as to what it is that is going on. It's a cycle, and a lot of people don't know that. They just think, oh, somebody got locked up, it got sent down the road. It's bigger than that, and very high percentages of people in our own community, in the Hispanic and Black community, we get touched by it one way or another, whether directly or indirectly. And I think it's very important we shed light on it, but not just shed light on it, but also do something about it. A lot of people don't understand that there are bills that are being passed within our own city, our own state, and they want to pass these bills. And slowly but surely, it starts at the bottom of chain command with bills that oppress us. And then they get higher and higher, and also the people in place, if they're not the right people that love us and support us as the community, then they will continue to pass certain bills that oppress us instead of help us. But it takes a community that's informed, that wants to do something about it, to get involved. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's important that we're all informed and actually willing to do something about it.
Now, what do you say to the people that if you just followed law and order, if you didn't go outside at some points at night, if you didn't hang around with certain people, things like this wouldn't happen to you? What do you say to those people?
To the
There's a
people
lot of them
that
out
think,
there. To the people that think that these things only happen to you because you put yourself in these situations.
I wouldn't say that. Every situation is different, but we as the Hispanic and the Black community, we have a target on our back. And that's something that's known to everyone. It doesn't matter what demographic, what race you are, that. There's a target on our back. And, we have to act extra precautious as to how we conduct ourselves in normal life, And it's not just you have to watch where you're putting yourself in. Yes, you have to be able to pick your friends wisely. There's some people that are not, there yet, that they know that they need to put a good head on their shoulders. But for the most part, it's a cycle of life right now where change is needed, and knowing what's going on and teaching our own is very important so we can act accordingly and also make change.
Now, Leslie, you work with also with a foundation that raises money for children, right? And I remember you telling me before that it's called Our Children's Story, and these are a bunch of downtrodden kids who will end up in this rotted legal system. What do you guys do to help them, get out of this situation,
So we don't help them get out of it. like physically. That's
Yeah,
a
not
choice that they
directly,
have
but
to make.
indirectly. Yeah.
Right. So Our Children's Story is a nonprofit organization that tailors to children in need and that have needs. And House of Ramirez partners up with Our Children's Story to mentor a school in Metro Atlanta called North Metro Genus. And those children there, they need our help. They need our support. And they need somebody that's reliable and consistent, and that's what we bring to the table. And not only are we consistent, but we encourage them to be a better version of themselves. They set out goals, they have dreams, and they set goals to pursue those dreams. And they can become anything that they want to. And they themselves can actually walk out of situations that, wrongfully the system has put them in. So we just help mentor and make sure that we're consistent in these children's lives. They don't have any type of consistency. And it's important that we not only support our community, but we give back to our community.
And when you mean consistency, when you say consistency, excuse me, like, what do you mean? Like, are these people, are these children, do they not have a home? They're not going to school? Because this is part of the systemic aspect that people really don't understand. There's kids out there that are literally being raised by wolves, meaning they're being raised out in the wild because of unforeseen circumstances and things that happen when you grow up in a rotted situation,
Right. So, when I say that they need consistency, I mean just that they need someone that's there every week, whether it's virtual now or it's someone before the COVID situation that was there at the school present, encouraging them and conducting projects to help them, have higher self-esteem. But the background of these children they've been misplaced by the system. They no longer are wanted in regular society, but society does not see and also overlooks the fact that these children have emotional and mental disorders. And why do they have these? They have these because they've been pushed out. Many of us are familiar with gentrification, and yes, they have good and bad to come with that. Now, the good is you have more employment in the areas and everything looks nicer. But the downside of that is us normal common folk people, we get pushed out into the outskirts of the city to certain sides of the city, and we don't get enough resources as the gentrified areas do. Now, these children see more than they should at a very young age, and with that comes emotional and mental disorders. And now, in turn, the system no longer wants to deal with these children because they feel like they're just acting out, but they've really seen so much more than an average adult has ever seen in their lifetime. And that is why it's important that we're there for the children. The children, and nowadays, and have ever and always will be the future. And it's important that we pour the right materials for our children, all our children, for them to prosper, because they are our future. And if we don't give them the proper material and encouragement to be better, to be a great version of themselves, then what kind of future are we pouring into?
Now, Leslie, is this something that you could relate to personally? Like, did you struggle like this growing up? Did you see things that you wish you hadn't seen? Is this why you're so passionate about what you're doing right now?
Well, yes. I actually feel very passionate about, expressing love towards one another and to others. My parents are immigrants from Mexico, and I pride myself in that because they came here to the States 30-something years ago so I can have a better future. So my siblings and I got the opportunity to be born here in the States, but it took a struggle, it took a sacrifice and a journey for them to get here, and I'm referring to my parents. With that being said, my parents didn't have rights as immigrants here in the States. As many of us know, that is also a hot topic. And I feel very passionate about that. Maybe 35 years ago, for immigrants to come here to a land that they know nothing of, no language to know about, and for them to succeed and prosper and carry a whole family and pull them through the struggles of raising a family, as if that's not enough, it's, encouraging for me to see where I come from. You have to appreciate where you come from to know where you're going, to really, really appreciate your destiny, your journey. And I struggled a lot, with parents, but they gave me the best that they could, and I cannot complain. If I had to do it all over again, I would.
No, I mean that sounds nuts. What's one of the biggest lessons that you learned from your parents? Because like you said,
Oh.
they coming over here and that during that time, I mean that's basically a little bit. I would imagine not too long after the '65 Immigration Act. Like what's the biggest lesson you learned? Because they didn't quit, and look, they raised a beautiful, healthy, person that inspires and always out here, making things happen type of lady. From what it seems like, and that I'm sure they're proud of you. What's the biggest lesson that they taught you for you to have that kind of disposition?
Thank you. Well, I give all thanks to God first. And then, my mom and my dad gave me the best that they could, as I mentioned before. And my mom taught me how to be loving and how to give and how to do for others. And my dad taught me the go-getter side. There's no no in life. There's always a way. And if you want something that bad, you go after it and you get that, regardless of what that looks like. You go out there and you make things happen,
Facts.
So my
You gotta go get it.
Yeah, you have to go get it. Nothing gets handed to you. Nothing in life is free. You have to work hard and sometimes smart if you can, but you have to work hard for what you want and go at it full throttle, head on,
Now, you also are very huge believer in, women's empowerment, making sure that, the ladies are well represented in different, associations, different acts. You're part of an association, right? The East Atlanta Business Women's Association. Did I get that correct?
No, it's East Atlanta Village Business Association.
Oh, East Atlanta. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought it was a women's association.
I will add to that. My business actually, House of Ramirez, partners up with a nonprofit organization called Dignified Diva, and what they help is young ladies in the community, our community. They give back purses, and these purses actually have bare essentials. Like a lot of our women out here in the streets that have been affected by whether it's homelessness or drug problems, or just women have been displaced due to domestic violence. They don't have the bare essentials, whether it's hair products or just sanitary pads or just sanitary products. We fit these items into the bag and we give them suitable daily use purses for them to carry around with them with products that they can use on a day-to-day basis. And this nonprofit is out here helping these women out here in our own community, in our own backyard.
Wow. That's really doing work in the community because, hygiene is important. Health is important. Those things lead to, you being the best version of yourself,
Right.
And, it really makes me proud because, I feel like I've grown up in a society that really hypersexualizes a lot of females, especially Latinas. J-Lo and Shakira got a lot of flack just for dancing on stage and showing, I looked at it as like, wow, you could do that at 50? Like I was just looking at a human being doing some athletic shit on stage, but people are like, oh, that's just Latinas. All they know how to do is shake their ass and blah, blah, blah. You hear the head is saying that. So when I see a woman such as yourself making things happen, it kind of makes me be like, you see guys, like, we don't all know how to, two-step, you know what I'm saying? Like we could do other things, So how do you feel when those stereotypes are being made?
Well, at first it's like, what, really? But don't get it twisted. A girl could get loud up in here if I have to. But you have to be able to understand that, we're women. We love to take care of our hair and our makeup, as you can clearly see. Keep it classy, but know how to put people in check. And, stereotypes, they come and go. Some last forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. As long as you know where you are at in life, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like that's the biggest problem here in America, that people don't want to, accept that they stereotype people. Like, all right, we all stereotype people, but not even continuing to do so, just breaking people's balls, and not giving people jobs because stopping their progression because of the stereotype, that's where the problem is. You know what I mean? Racial profiling, that's where the problem is. District attorney, whatever. We could lose a couple more, people from the black and brown community is no big deal. You know what I mean? Not getting the education to be in those positions, to have those jobs, to have that kind of sentiment, be like, you know what, maybe this person does deserve a second chance. You know what I mean? Because like I grew up being stereotyped my whole life. I've always been fresh to death. I've always been close to the black community. I've always wanted, I've always adjusted my swag and, and everything that I wear to them. You know what I'm saying? I love wearing my snapbacks, my fitteds, whatever, to the back, and nobody would even know that, I graduated from college. You know what I'm saying? I came from the projects. And like, I really appreciate the fact that you're giving these kids and you're giving women and you're giving people of color these kind of opportunities that they may not even think that are available. Because sometimes you don't even know that these things are available. Sometimes you think that a life of crime is all you have in front of you, or a life in entertainment, or a life in playing sports. Like, that's not all there is out here, You can be a geek and be successful. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's very true, But you have to be able to when you hear stereotypes or when you see someone stereotype you individually, don't take it personal. It's just the way that they have been raised, that they don't know any better. And some people just honestly don't know any better, and they actually feel like that's the truth, and they never took it that step further to get to know a Hispanic or a black person, and they feel like that's what it is.
Or even a white person or an Asian, because it goes all across the board. Everybody's guilty. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's guilty.
Even within our own community, we tend to stereotype as well. But when you see that, you have to be able to completely detach from that. If you know that you're something greater than that small little box of stereotypes, push it to the side and keep being great. Don't let nothing stop you or hold you back from being great.
Now, what motivates you to be great? Like, besides, your upbringing, what really is the essence of the House of Ramirez, and where do you see that brand going moving forward?
Right. So I have children, and I have 3 of them, and they are my inspiration to keep on doing what I'm doing. As I mentioned before, children are the pillar of our future. They are our stepping stone for what's next. We have to be able to not only help them be great, but also set something up for them to rely on, to have, to be great. They need that support, that backup. And, a lot of our parents didn't teach us that, and that's okay, but us knowing now what we need to know to be better and help our future generations to be better, and giving them something to lean on and grow on, and just having some type of generational wealth, breaking the cycle, is what it's all about. So my children motivate me to keep on doing what I'm doing, but the love for people and the love to give back to our own communities, that is one of the strongest love and drive I have to keep House of Ramirez going.
One more question now that you mentioned that. How are you feeling about kids going back to school, man?
Well, to be honest with
that's got to be a tough job. Yeah.
That's right, but that's a whole different conversation. You see, the public schools, they have up to 22 to 23 children in a classroom, right? So the schools that are private, that have the actual money coming in from like tuition, they actually have less children in a classroom, if not 2 teachers per small classroom. So social distancing seems some type of realistic when it comes down to a private instituted school than a public school. When you talk about a public school, not all of them, especially in the city, they don't all have the resources that they need to be better schools, right? So when you have this high quantity of children and low quantity of teachers, and in the pandemic that we're in, and we're discussing social distancing and have to wear masks, or you get fined, or you could get, some type of charges, and you're talking about first graders up to 12th graders, it doesn't calculate very well in my mind. But, I'm not a statistic analyst. I'm not a teacher. I am
but you are a parent
that is concerned and know that realistically speaking, if you have 23 kids to X amount of footage square classroom with 1 teacher, how will you 6 feet apart each child? That's a good question.
Now, Ms. Ramirez, could you give us, could you summarize for us in Spanish and in English,
Okay.
first of all, where to find, your brand, where to find the associated brands that you feel are important, and a final message to the public, before we end the podcast over here, let us know where to find you, and let us know,
Okay.
Give us a nice little message, to take us away here.
Take it away. So, Angel, I just want to say thank you. Before I get into that, I want to say that it's a true honor to be on your podcast. So keep doing big things. Although you look at us and you ask us questions and, you encourage us, it's also encouraging to have you to encourage us. We need that. So where you can find House of Ramirez, you can find House of Ramirez on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, or go to houseoframirez.com. On Facebook, we are House of Ramirez. On Instagram, we are houseoframirez.atl. We're based out of Atlanta. We're not limited to Atlanta. We're nationwide. And go to YouTube, House of Ramirez. Yeah. So si ustedes tienen Facebook o Instagram o tienen acceso a la red social, vayan a Facebook, a Casa de Ramirez, en inglés House of Ramirez. En Instagram es Casa de Ramirez, en inglés houseoframirez.atl, porque estamos en Atlanta, pero no estamos limitados en solo Atlanta. Nosotros viajamos en todos los estados de Estados Unidos. Si ustedes pueden, también vayan a YouTube, síganos en House of Ramirez, Casa de Ramirez, y tenemos nuestra propia página social, casaderamirez.com. So, está espellado y letreado en inglés, houseoframirez.com.
Muchas gracias. You want to plug the podcast before you go?
Yes, so I do have a podcast. It's on YouTube, and I will be on my own platform, and it will be uploaded to YouTube and broadcasted to all Facebook, whether personal or business, and all Instagram, whether it's personal or business platforms.
Pues, señorita Ramírez, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros hoy aquí en el podcast The Angel of Words. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really been a pleasure, for telling us your truth, letting us know what's going on out there in ATL, letting us know about your brand and, how to better the Black and brown communities. I'll be paying attention to what you guys are up to and definitely supporting in any which way I can. And if there's any of your brands that want to come up here and, and talk about what they're doing, you already know. Holla at your favorite wacky Puerto Rican podcaster.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Angel.
All right. Be
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Bye. Hey, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my interview today with the founder of the House of Ramirez, Miss Leslie Ramirez. Now, if you want to continue following the Angel of Words podcast, all you got to do is go to YouTube, click on that notification bell. It's Angel of Words ENT. Also, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know what I'm up to on my social media, follow me at Angel of Words ENT, all one word. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.